Hello and welcome to Wolverine Alley-Oop. I'm your host for today, Phil Ledzinski, alongside Jake Karalexis, and it has certainly been another exciting week for Michigan basketball.
Certainly, Phil. With the signing of a 4-star recruit, things are looking up for Michigan on the recruiting cycle after Beilein's heart surgery this summer. With the recent release of the preseason AP poll this past week, college basketball players, coaches, and fans got a glimpse of the initial expectations placed upon their team for the 2018-2019 season. Coming in at number 19, Michigan enters the season with the national ranking a year after being unranked in the preseason before going all the way to the title game. But is that too low of a ranking for a team coming off of a national championship run? Coach Beilein's teams have been historically ranked too low in the preseason, such as opening 24th before making an Elite 8 run in 2014, or being unranked before winning the Big Ten tournament and making the Sweet 16 in 2017. Beilein's teams historically make drastic in-season improvements before coming together at the right time to make a postseason run in March and April. While voters will surely have dinged Michigan for having to replace 3 of their best and most experienced players, the opportunity for drastic internal improvement from returning key players such as Jordan Poole, Isaiah Livers, and Xavier Simpson, among others, means that Michigan has a great chance to be as good or even much better than their preseason ranking come tournament time.
You know what, Jake? I think a preseason ranking of 19 is something to, it's pretty realistic. I mean, after losing Mo Wagner, Mar, and Duncan Robinson, 3 current NBA players, it's pretty impressive that we're still ranked after all that.
I agree, Phil. A great representation of what our team is capable of, as we have the chance to go higher or lower, depending on how our returning players improve and how quickly we can integrate our new pieces into the rotation.
Absolutely. We'll just have to wait and see. The men's basketball team hosted its annual media day at Chrysler Center yesterday, where Coach Beilein, his staff, and the Wolverine players spoke with members of the local and national press. Coach B had a lot of positive takeaways from the first couple weeks of the season, as well as some clear areas for improvement. Some of his thoughts include, we've made great progress from what anybody saw this summer, if anybody saw us even practicing earlier this year. There are still some days where we really look like we're really missing Mar, Duncan, Jaron, and Mo, and then there are other days where I say, okay, we could be all right. Beilein also spoke on the team's chemistry, which will be vital considering the large incoming class of freshmen. They're a great group to coach. Every day, it's like no agendas, just let's go play basketball and let's improve as a team. He also touched on the challenging schedule the men are up against this season, saying that it is probably the most difficult schedule that they've ever had, and that even the less notable games are returning most of their best players. It's safe to say that they won't be taking any teams for granted this year.
Some other notable quotes from teammates include senior guard Charles Matthews saying, "I feel confident in myself and I feel this can only get better. I feel like I'm ready to make good plays for this team. This year isn't as much to impress, it's to lead this team." Junior guard Xavier Simpson added, "We are trying to put everything aside and concentrate on playing as a team, playing together. We, of course, think about last season, but we are just playing and trying to get better. It's great to know that leaders like Charles and Xavier are stepping up to lead this young team, following the loss of starters from last season." Michigan will open its season on Friday, November 2nd, with an exhibition game against Northwood at 7 p.m. The regular season begins Tuesday, November 6th, against Norfolk State at 8:30 p.m. And that's all we have today for you guys from the news desk. Let's send it over to Ethan, who is hosting this week's debate.
Thank you, Jake. My name's Ethan. I'm usually a debater, but this week I'll be hosting the debate between Dan and Nick. And this week we are going to be debating where they think Michigan will finish in the final Big Ten standings come spring. Dan, you'll go first.
All right, thank you, Ethan. It's nice to have a nice level-headed conversation with you today. So looking forward to this. I think I'm gonna be a little conservative with my ranking. I think second or third. I'm gonna go to the official ranking third. We're replacing a lot of talent on the team, a lot of young players. We could drop some early games if they're not quite ready, or during the big time games they may not show up as well as they could because they haven't been in the spotlight before. I'd probably say Michigan State, maybe Indiana above us. Indiana's bringing in a really good 5-star recruit. Michigan State bringing back a lot of people. I know they lost 2 lottery picks, but it's always good in the regular season. Postseason, different story, but regular season are always pretty good. So I think third would be a pretty good estimate for where they'll finish.
Good. Nick?
I can appreciate that. They do lose a lot of people, and there are a lot of very good teams in the Big Ten. You said something about losing early games, but those don't actually tend to count towards the Big Ten standings as they are not Big Ten games. I've already gone on record saying that Iggy Brazdeikis is going to win the MVP of the whole league, so really there's no question Michigan's going to come in first in the league by the end of the year, absolutely, and win 20 games out of the 20 games they can play.
Goodness gracious. Well, you see, there aren't only out-of-conference early games, there are early games in the conference as well. So was that not only implying the early games against, like North Carolina is going to be a huge test, and that, obviously doesn't count, but that's going to be tough, and probably not going to win that. But the early big games against, Michigan State, I don't know the schedule-wise, I don't know if we play at there, if we get them at home first, but if we're at, I'm saying first. Okay, home is first. I guess we got the Michigan expert here. It doesn't matter if we're playing home or away first. It is a huge game, in-state rivalry. They might not be ready for the spotlight. And we don't know how much they'll even be playing at the start of the season. John Beilein definitely favors the older guys. I think we've seen that a lot. Even last year, wanted Jordan Poole, Isaiah Livers to play more. He finally gave him a little more playing time as the season went on. So we may not even see them. So then their earlier games, what they're actually playing in, will be halfway through the season. So we might experience some growing pain.
Luckily, though, with Michigan State especially, our last few matchups have gone in our favor by double digits, all three of the last matchups, and that includes one at their court and one at our court. We returned the best defense in the conference by a large margin. It was top 3 in the country at the end of last year, and it only gets better bringing in John Teske, who will be defensive anchor down low. So really, there's just no offense in the Big Ten that will be able to run on the defense we have.
They may not be able to They may play some really good defense, but that doesn't mean that the freshmen, as I'm saying, I'm really harping on the freshman a lot, but John Beilein has a very complicated system, and with defense in particular, it has a lot to do with on-ball defense, you can do by yourself, but these off-ball defensive rotations and get caught up. They may not be able to play in a full defensive system, but I do agree, we do look pretty good, and if this prediction of yours that he's going to be the MVP of the whole year, I don't even think he's even starting the first start of the season, so for him to be the MVP, it's an extremely hot take, but I'll move that to the side. But
play well.
It was a nice, calm debate between you guys today. I am going to have to go with Dan, though. I do think Indiana and Michigan State are going to be tough. Early Big Ten game against Purdue could be hard for us. Freshmen on the road. I think third is a good projection. Dan, congratulations. So now I'm going to send it over to Jake, who is hosting this week's trivia between two Michigan basketball experts, Allison and John.
Thank you, Ethan, for hosting yet another marvelous debate. We're back with our trivia this week. Once again, John and Allison competing after last week's deadlock. We'll see if we can break the deadlock this week with what year was that? You guys ready for the first question?
Yep. Yeah.
In 2013, Michigan basketball team became #1 in the AP poll for the first time since what year? We have 1992 for John, 1995 for Allison. The answer is, in fact, 1992. It's 1 for John. Second question. What year did Coach Beilein get his first win against MSU? $2011 for John, 2009 for Allison. 2011 is the correct answer. John out of the gates with 2. Question number 3. What year did Nick Stauskas blow kisses to the Breslin Center? (2011, 2014). 2014 is the answer. John running away with it after 3 questions. See if Allison can fight back in the second half. Question number 4. What year was Michigan's first Final Four appearance? '89, '65. The correct answer is 1964, so we're going to give Allison that one for being close. 3-1 is our score going into question 5. What year was John Beilein's first tournament appearance with Michigan? (2009) is the correct answer. So Allison with another one. We're at 3-2 going into the sixth question. What recruiting class was the Fab Five? The correct answer is 1991, so we'll give that one to John. That means John wins our debate this week with a final score of 4-2. Good effort by both parties this week. Hopefully we'll be back in the future for another great debate. And that brings us to the end of our show. Be sure to go to wolvtv.org to watch more Alley Oop and other Wolv TV programs. Thank you for watching Alley Oop. Catch us next week for more information on everything and anything that is Michigan basketball.